Boker Tov, good morning, everyone. It's so good to be with you as we continue our journey through the Omer. And today, let's start with Elohai Neshama, this prayer thanking God for the very breath that we breathe, for this new day filled with possibilities. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi tehorai. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi tehorai. Ata berata, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi. Ve'ata mishamra b'kirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bi tehorai. My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. This morning, we are well into our 6th week called Becoming the Vision, and I went a little bit literal with that today, but I think it has a deeper meaning to it that I hope we all can relate to. We'll get there in just a second. But before we do, let us just welcome everyone who is here in sacred community this morning. It is so good to be with you. George and Don, Andrea and Pam, it's so lovely to see you this morning. Jay, I see my mom's here. So good to have you here. Sarah and Tom and Barbara and Debbie. Boker Tov, great to have you. Diane, great to see you. Rabbi Catherine and Marla and Michelle, Eve and Bill. I'm so glad that all of you are here. It is truly a blessing to be able to start the day with every one of you. So let us say our blessing for this day of the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. Hayom tisha shloshim yom shehem chamisha shavuot v'arba'a yamim la'omer. Today is 39 days, which is 5 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. And what that means is that we only have 10 days left. 10 days, and then we have the blessing of being able to celebrate the holiday of Shavuot, and we have some really amazing things planned for Shavuot that I know we're all looking forward to, including a confirmation service with 6 absolutely phenomenal teens who are going to lead us and inspire us talking about their Jewish journeys, and an all-night study-a-thon. You can tune in as much as you want. We're congregations throughout North America, have clergy members who will be leading a variety of different classes. I'm going to be one of them, but there are a variety of different things that you can choose from cooking to musical programs to text study to really anything, you name it, from when confirmation services are over until the next morning's prayer. And you can take part of as much of that as you choose to. So I know we're all looking forward to that. But today, let us turn back to this particular day's teaching, which has to do with becoming the vision. And for today, I went back to someone who we talked about early on in the first week. Abraham. And of course, Abraham is a really powerful figure in our Torah and in our tradition because he is the father of Judaism in a lot of different ways. He was really the first person to become a Jew. And we know that Abraham grew up with a father who sold idols. He was in a culture where everyone worshiped idols. Except Abraham, we learn, didn't believe in idols from a really young age. There's lots of different texts that talk about how Abraham believed that there was something bigger, but he didn't really know what to do with that yet. So when many years into his life, God calls to him and says to him, go on a journey. I want you to leave the only home you've ever known and to go on a spiritual journey to find yourself, to be the person who you haven't had a chance to become, but who you were created to become. Abraham says, yeah, okay, I'm going to go on this journey. He knew that there were risks involved. He knew how scary that would be, but he decided to go on this journey. And what we have here in this first text is God saying to Abram, because his name was Abram at this point, go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the lands that I will show you. At the very beginning, Abram knows that he needs to go on a journey. He says yes, but he doesn't know what that journey looks like. And so he leans on God to show him the way. Many of us starting a new task or when we have something daunting in our lives that we know we need to deal with, we similarly rely on others. We turn to others who have been through something similar. We turn to mentors. We turn to support and say, okay, this is what we need to do, but what does that even look like? Can you help me? Can you help me envision what this is? And so God says to calm him down at this point, I will show you. And indeed, as the text goes on in the next chapter, God is showing Abram the way. God said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, raise your eyes and look out from where you are, to the north and south, to the east and west, for I give you all the land that you see, to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, then your offspring too can be counted. Up, walk about the land, through its length and breadth, for I give it to you. Now God is not only saying, I will show you the land, but God is actually actively showing Abram the land, showing him what it looks like, showing him what the path can be, so that he can take those steps forward with full confidence in not only God's words, but also in his own senses. He's slowly beginning to find his way, to find his footing, something that he previously thought wouldn't be possible. So the Jewish mystics raise up these two texts and the next one that I'm going to bring in, because they look at Abram and they are really interested by his spiritual journey. They're interested by all of our spiritual journeys to be able to figure out where our place is, how we can connect with God, how we can become the vision. And they notice that in these two texts, at this part, Abram is called Abram. But we know that soon after this, he will receive an extra letter in his name, and that letter is the He, so that his name becomes Abraham. The He within it, which sounds so much like breath itself, is supposed to be, or it signifies an aspect of God that is within him, that he's found in himself. And the mystics look at the text and they notice that shortly after Abram becomes Abraham, there is another text that mentions vision, except this time the vision happens differently. So this text happens within the context of the Akedah, when Abraham is asked to sacrifice his son. And I know there's a lot to discuss there. That's for another day. But if you notice in the very bottom of the text, it says, on the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place from afar. Abraham looked up on his own and was able to see the vision. He knew where he was going to. He didn't need God's vision at this point. He had somehow internalized all of that. He had become who he needed to be. And I think that for Abraham, this transformation is quite remarkable, that when he started his journey, he just had no idea where it would lead him. And yet he took those first steps taking in support from God, just like we take in support from others. But then somehow, slowly, his very identity changed and he received his whole name. He was able to envision the future for himself. And this week of visioning, in this process, we've been talking about what it means to create a world that allows us to be more in tune with ourselves, allows us to really create something that perhaps our souls have been longing for, allow us to move forward. We've been through so much in this past year. We have been wandering through the desert. And what does it mean? What does it mean to envision a better future ahead? Perhaps we take those few first steps forward as Abraham did. And slowly we find that we become a little bit more secure in our journey. And so today, the question that I've offered, hold on one second here. I'll get back to that question in a second because my PowerPoint got a little messed up there. But that really is the, oh no, okay. I thought that I was one day off on my questions. I actually wasn't. So it's, how do you overcome your feelings and thoughts about not being strong enough to realize your vision? That perhaps all of us have doubts, but all of us can achieve so much. I'd like to end today with a prayer, as we do each morning, a prayer of healing for everyone in our community, everyone in our thoughts, everyone in our world who is in need of any kind of healing, healing of mind, healing of body, or healing of spirit. We're thinking about everyone who is affected by COVID-19 throughout the world. We're thinking of everyone who is just struggling at this particular moment in time. And we hope that these words, the Mishaberach prayer, can help to bring more healing in the world, can help to inspire us to be there more for people who are in need of our support, and that we in turn can feel support of community when we need healing. So today, let us sing together Debbie Friedman's Mishaberach prayer. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor habracha lehimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lehavotenu. May those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. I hope everyone has a day that is filled with blessings. Tonight, or later today at 12:30, we will have Torah study that everyone is invited to. And then tomorrow we will come back for another day of counting the Omer. And I look forward to seeing you all then.